Hi guys, my students and I recently have been looking at the closed guard, and I've been reminded how much I love the closed guard position. Lately, the last few years with the rise of the leg lock phenomena, the closed guard has sort of fallen out of favor. It's regarded as maybe a little bit old-fashioned, and it's not as widely practiced, to my perception at least, as it used to be and perhaps should be. And the closed guard is really the thing that put Jiu Jitsu on the map. It's what separates Jiu Jitsu from a lot of other grappling arts. It's the emphasis on the closed guard. Now, in case you're new to Jiu Jitsu, let's talk a little bit about what the closed guard is. It's using your legs. Your legs are wrapped around the waist of your opponent. So if you're on your back, you've got your legs wrapped around your opponent's waist, your opponent's facing you, and you're using your legs and your upper body to control. You've isolated their upper body. So you're using your whole body against 50% of their body. So it's an incredibly advantageous position from a weight distribution, from a leverage perspective. And this is one of the things that makes the closed guard so effective, because even a smaller person, is able to control a larger person simply by virtue of the fact that you are applying 100% of your mass against 50% of theirs. And you're doing it in a way that almost totally nullifies, certainly in a grappling sense, nullifies their ability to effectively attack you. Now, for me, the closed guard is still the preeminent position when it comes to controlling and finishing a fight if you are playing defensively. If you're on top and you've got heavy top pressure and you're attacking on top, that's a different thing. But if you're underneath and you're playing a defensive game, the closed guard is where it's at. And I say this in terms of jiu-jitsu, not in just the sportive context, but in self-defense. If you end up on the floor underneath someone in MMA, if you end up underneath someone, the closed guard is the thing that's going to keep you safe and give you the highest odds of controlling and finishing the fight. But there's a lot of moving parts to the closed guard, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why it's fallen out of favor, because there's a lot of minutiae, there's a lot to understand about using it effectively, and then to use it offensively, there's even more to understand. There are different levels. So most people perceive the closed guard as primarily a defensive situation, but it can be used to great effect offensively. And again, that's in a sportive context, that's in a MMA context, whatever kind of context you're talking about, the closed guard still has its place. But if you're struggling to make the closed guard work for you, let's look at 3 concepts, not techniques, because the techniques are endless. Let's look at 3 concepts we can employ to facilitate a more effective closed guard, a more dangerous closed guard. The first concept is your hands, or your arms rather, and your legs are working together constantly. They're doing different things, but they're always working together. They're a partnership. The legs, the strongest part of your body, are used to control your opponent, used to control their mass, control their body, direct their movement as much as possible. Just like the legs do the heavy lifting, just like if you're squatting, you've got the bar on your shoulders, doing a heavy squat, the legs are doing all the heavy lifting. The same is true for the closed guard. So if the legs are doing the lifting, the arms and the hands, they're used to destroy your opponent's grips and finish the fight. But it's a dance between those 2 halves of your body, between the control and the attack. So the control is the legs, and the attack and the stripping and the destroying of your opponent's grips is where the arms come into play. And it's something that is going back and forth between them non-stop. The second thing we can look at, or we can think about in terms of conceptually, is that your first attack is more often than not going to be most helpful in setting up your second and third attack. So just like in striking, your jab might set up your cross. It's the same with the closed guard. Your attempt to finish someone with the cross collar choke might leave them vulnerable, or will often leave them vulnerable to an armbar from the closed guard. defending the armbar or the triangle choke will leave them vulnerable to an omoplata. So you are cycling through your attacks, trying to catch your opponent out. Trying to force one attack is possible, but it's not the optimum way of utilizing the closed guard, and indeed utilizing your submission or your finishing, the finishing side of your game in any aspect of Jiu Jitsu. The art, the finesse of Jiu Jitsu comes in misdirecting your opponents, leading them down the wrong path and then sneaking around the back when their attention is elsewhere. The third thing we can think about is cutting the angles. So when you're in someone's closed guard, you're not obliged to just sit in front of them and trade submission or sweep attempts. Again, just like when you're striking, it's better to move off someone's center line so that you can attack them and reduce their chances or their odds of attacking you successfully. The same is true in the guard. Now, inside the guard, there's almost no effective attacks that they can employ against you. That's another reason why the guard is so powerful, because they can't do much to you whilst you're controlling them. But if you come off their center line, you'll find yourself in a much stronger position to unleash your attacks and to hit sweeps. Your opponent is going to find it very difficult to defend effectively when you're off to one side, when you're on their blind side. So there you are, guys. 3 concepts that, if used, if practiced, I'm pretty certain they're going to help you develop a very effective offensive closed guard. Good luck.